The Galactic Empire, a sprawling collection of thousands of worlds united under the banner of the Empress Eternal, had ruled unchallenged for centuries. Its armadas swept across the stars, its sentinels enforced its laws, and its diplomats silenced dissent. Yet, for all its might, the Empire had never faced anything like Earth. Earth was a forgotten backwater, lost in the fringes of mapped space. Millennia ago, its people had reached out to the stars with ambition and ferocity, but their empire, the Terran Dominion, crumbled after a devastating war against itself. Their once mighty fleets were reduced to ghost stories, their colonies abandoned to the void. Galaxy moved on, relegating humanity to a historical footnote. But the past, as the Empire was about to learn, has a way of catching up. High Executor Xerin stood on the bridge of the Imperial Glory, the flagship of the Empire's first fleet. The vessel was a marvel of engineering, bristling with weapons that could obliterate moons, and protected by shields capable of withstanding supernova-level blasts. Around her, hundreds of similar warships floated in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming like predatory beasts under the light of a distant sun. Her orders were clear: investigate the disturbance in Sector 438, where reports indicated an unidentified fleet had emerged from a long-dormant system. Initially dismissed as pirate activity, the reports grew more concerning when entire scouting parties vanished without a trace. Theron's blood-red eyes narrowed as her tactical officer spoke. Executor, the unidentified fleet is now within long-range scanners. Their formation is unusual. At their ships, they appear to be ancient. Ancient? Xerin turned sharply, her regal robes trailing behind her. Clarify. The officer hesitated. They match no known empire or rebel designs. Their architecture predates even our oldest records. And Executor, they are massive. Each ship is, he gulped, 3 times the size of our largest Dreadnought. Tyrin's lips curled into a frown. The Empire's Dreadnoughts were the epitome of destructive power. The thought of a larger, older fleet, it defied reason. Put it on screen, she commanded. The bridge fell silent as the fleet appeared on the main display. The ships were gargantuan, their hulls pockmarked with the scars of ancient battles. They bore an aesthetic unlike anything Xerin had ever seen, a blend of brutalist functionality and ominous artistry. Blackened steel adorned with faded insignias and vast energy conduits that pulsed like veins gave the impression of slumbering beasts awakening. At the forefront was the largest ship, a dreadnought that dwarfed even the Imperial Glory. Its prow was adorned with a weathered emblem, a blue and green sphere encircled by the laurel wreath, the symbol of Earth. By the Empress, Xerin whispered, humanity. On board the Eternal Resolve, the flagship of the Terran Dreadnought fleet, Admiral Rebecca Hale stood at her station. The bridge was a stark contrast to the Empire's pristine vessels. Here, everything was functional, worn, but reliable. Each console, each bulkhead, bore the marks of an empire that had once ruled with unmatched might. Hale's face was lined with age, her steel-gray hair pulled into a tight braid, her eyes, piercing and unyielding, scanned the tactical displays. The enemy fleet was vast, their technology advanced, but she knew the truth. The Empire's might was built on arrogance and convenience. Admiral, said her XO, a wiry man named Carter, they've spotted us. Their fleet is maneuvering into attack formation. Hale's lips curled into a faint smile. Let them. They've grown soft, relying on AI and automated systems. They'd never faced war the way we fought it. Orders? Carter asked. Bring us to full combat readiness. Power up the particle lances and rail batteries. And make sure the enemy hears this loud and clear. We are humanity. We have returned. The Empire's fleet struck first. Thousands of plasma bolts and kinetic rounds streaked toward the Terran ships, their combined firepower enough to shatter planets. But the ancient dreadnoughts weathered the storm. Their shields, reinforced by forgotten Terran ingenuity, absorbed the initial salvo with ease. Then, the Terran fleet retaliated. The Eternal Resolve fired its main gun, a particle lance that tore through space like a vengeful god's spear. The beam struck an Imperial battleship, piercing its shields and hull in an instant. The ship detonated, a brilliant fireball against the dark void. Around the flagship, Terran cruisers and destroyers engaged with ruthless efficiency. Railguns launched slugs at hypersonic speeds, shredding Imperial vessels with kinetic force. Swarms of drone fighters, each one piloted by an AI that was decades ahead of the Empire's systems, outmaneuvered and outgunned their counterparts. The Empire's commanders, used to subjugating weak and disorganized foes, found themselves overwhelmed. The Terrans fought with precision and brutality, their tactics honed by centuries of warfare. Surin watched in horror as her fleet disintegrated. The Terran dreadnoughts advanced like an unstoppable tide, their weapons carving through her forces with terrifying ease. For every Terran ship that fell, 10 Imperial vessels were destroyed. "Executor, we must retreat," shouted her tactical officer. "No," Zarin hissed, though her voice wavered. "We are the Empire. We do not retreat." "Executor," the officer insisted, "the Terrans are broadcasting a message." Surin clenched her fists. "Play it." The voice that filled the bridge was cold and resolute. "This is Admiral Rebecca Hale of the Terran Dominion. You have trespassed into sovereign Terran space and fired upon our fleet. In doing so, you have declared war. Let this battle be a warning. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget." The battle ended as swiftly as it began. The Terran Dreadnought fleet emerged victorious, their losses minimal. The shattered remnants of the Imperial First Fleet fled, leaving behind fields of debris and shattered pride. On board the Eternal Resolve, Hale stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching as the Empire's survivors disappeared into hyperspace. "They'll be back," Carter said. "Let them come," Hale replied. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with determination. "We've waited centuries for this. The galaxy forgot what it meant to fear us. Now we'll remind them." As the Terran fleet turned and disappeared into the darkness, a single thought echoed across the Empire. The humans had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same.